Level of commitment. Yesterday, one of my students came into class and she says, I don't know, my work isn't getting any better. And I go, well, what's your level of commitment to your work getting better? And she goes, really, I never really thought it was going to be so hard. And I said, what were you thinking? This is one of the hardest things you possibly can do. But if you slump your shoulders down and go, then you're not going to get better. Your work is always going to feel like you're not going to get better. If you don't increase the level of commitment to your work is not going to get better. And if you look at everything as being just too hard or too difficult or too time consuming, you're going to understand a lot of these things, but you won't know how to apply them. Now, where did you fail with this painting?
Oh, I felt if I had more time, I would blow it even more.
You blew it before that.
Oh. Okay.
Do you know where she blew it at?
Because I left 5 minutes to do it.
No.
You didn't want to do it.
No.
But you didn't take the plastic off her canvas?
She didn't even bother taking the plastic off the canvas. Her commitment to this painting, it's still on the cellophane that came from the store.
She could use
But
it
you
again.
told us Chris did that, and she came out with a masterpiece.
Well, yeah, but I have students that do masterpieces on masterpieces. You know, it's like if you're so non-committed that this painting isn't going to be anything that you don't take the plastic off your canvas, then your level of commitment is already checked out before you start.
Now, I was really thinking of Chris's thing that she did in a few minutes.
Yes.
And it had the marks on it where it was supposed
Yeah,
to be.
but she used that as a preliminary sketch for a painting that she worked hard on. So it was actually for a reason. So she originally started on the plastic to see whether or not she liked the idea and composition.
Know that.
Yeah. So you don't get off that easy. If you don't start with the right attitude, if you don't start off making this exercise as important as anything you could possibly do, if you don't come in here and show me and want to blow my socks off because you're so phenomenal, that you are so great, that your ego is that big, that you want to like shine, if you don't do that, your work will not get good. It will always be just better than mediocre. You have to develop an edge. If somebody goes and commits themselves to being an Olympic runner, and they go to the rink and they look at it and they go, you know, I'm not even going to put my tennis shoes on. So what is the coach supposed to do if they show up and they're not ready to perform?
Send him home.
Okay, so my job is to sit and tell you, no, you get your tennis shoes on. In your case, get your plastic off. And for God's sakes, these projects, if you're going to do them, should start tomorrow. You have 2 weeks to do these projects. 3 weeks, 4 weeks to do this project. Well, you were ill and I'm sympathetic to that. But if you don't set up with a level of commitment and sharpen your edge, people are going to trample you at the finish line. Okay? And then when you're sitting down, like you said, all of a sudden you went like, wow, that's really great. So what was missing at that point? The time.
Yeah, it really was. I was amazed at how interesting it was.
Yeah, it can be very interesting. Now let's look at what you have. You have actually two objects on the golden mean, apparently. First, the level of commitment by, and this is the same thing with Robert, by starting a small painting, it's like, you know, you don't get an Olympic medal for making a perfect swan dive on a short platform. No. Okay? In order for you to get the gold medal, you got to go onto the big platform. And you got to make a perfect swan dive from the big platform. And so making a small painting or an insignificant painting will not get you a gold ribbon. You go and you get yourself a nice size committed painting that you think you can get done in a couple of hours. And then you take the plastic off of it. And then you start off with clean brushes, all of your colors, because you've got to show up with all of your equipment. And then you have to sit there and adjust your composition because it's going to be the very best one in the room. And then you have to sit there and ask yourself, what are you looking at? And how do I see that? And then how you do that from the model to your painting is going to measure how well your painting will be. Without all of those in line, your level of commitment isn't good enough that you will never become a great painter. Now, you are a great painter, but I want these homework assignments to be exciting for you, not a chore. It's an opportunity for you to like sit there and go, how can I get away with something? How can I do something? How can I go further? Because if you can make this work, you can use it on your other projects. And unfortunately, we're dealing with paintings that survive the time. Where we go wrong is if we were playing the piano, if we had a bad day, we just close the piano. Nobody knows about it. But we feel that our paintings are something that are museum worthy and they have to sit around and haunt us. The reason why you do these homework assignments is so that we have something to look at. So we have something to talk about. And if you do a really great job with it, you might have something to sell. You might actually walk away with some new knowledge. But you can see that if we didn't have this, you wouldn't have examples for us to see. So at least you did that. So I'm very proud of that. So if you notice, though, we have two objects on golden mean. Fabulous. They look a little bit like breasts, you know, or whatever. And because you didn't have lights or shadows on them, we had no other options. But notice the ribbon that she has here. Remember, our conversation is about eye magnets. Okay, our conversation is about eye magnets. And look at the eye magnet that brings us around. Okay. Yes. So you definitely have brought the viewer.
That's what I was excited about when I looked at it.
So compositionally, you did well. I wish you would have gotten more done.
I might try and do it.
So show up with your running shoes next time.